Hello, friends. The next part of Creepy Stories from Reddit is coming. Subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new stories, and also leave your opinions in the comments. Make yourself comfortable. We are starting. This begins back when I was 15. I'm 18 now. Just for some background, I work in a 5-star Michelin restaurant as a waitress in a sweet little area. We usually don't get anyone with bad intentions. Usually just snobs, lol. Easter Sunday of 2022, one of the busiest days of the year, a man, who will be known as the Easter Man, came in looking for a table for one. He was in a 3-piece suit with a carton of chicken eggs. He was sat in my section, so I go over to get a drink and food order. Once I got his order, he kept me talking, asking about my education, what I was doing in school, what my plans for the future were, what my hobbies were, my name, etc., etc. Just a little too much to be polite, but I let it slide. I was busy, tired, and didn't want any trouble. Eventually he left for the day. I thought that was that. Oh, I was wrong. For the next couple of months, he would come in 2 to 3 days every week. He got more confident, attempting to flirt with me, asked me to come out with him after work, etc. However, things got worse. When one shift, I was walking him to his table, and he slid his hands down my back and over my butt. I turned around and somehow politely told him to not touch me and do not push my boundaries as I was only 15, and he knew that. I didn't serve him that day. A week later, he came in. I refused to serve him once again. My manger took over his table. Yet, when everyone was on break and it was only me on the floor, he came inside. He knew by that point it was table service only, and came up behind me, bringing his hands down my arms. I was shaken up, but politely, again, told him to not touch me. I didn't hear from him again then, until next Easter, 2023. Last Easter, things got worse. He showed up again, the usual shenanigans, yet my managers were prepped this year, not allowing me to go within vicinity of him, keeping me safe. This was only useful inside of work. I walked through the town center to get to work. It's about a 25-minute walk from the train station. As I was walking to work one day, he saw me in his car and followed me into work. I immediately told my managers, who, yet again, told me to stay away from him. A week after that, I was having coffee before work, about a 15-minute walk away from my job. And what do you know, guess who sees me and follows me on foot to work? I, again, tell my managers, who keep me away from him. Again, yet that day was different. He asked my managers for me, saying he knew I was there because he'd seen me. Last year, 2024, I took a lot of holidays around Easter time and was off a lot for exams. Supposedly he came in a few times, asked for me, and didn't come in much when I wasn't anywhere to be seen. He hasn't come in since then. However, this Sunday is Easter Sunday. So, for Easter 2025, Easter Man, let's not meet. Honestly, I can be a paranoid person, but I knew this was a little too far. I had this friend being an awkward teenager in a small town. It was hard to make friends, at least any with the same interest as me. We had a new student, and most people wanted to be his friend. Decently attractive guy, artsy, and pretty introverted. Most girls were trying to hit on him, but I just wanted to be his friend. He never really talked to anyone, but I never thought of that was weird. I mean, most teenagers are like that. We ended up being friends. This led me to do some semi-risky things for about 2 years. From going to places we shouldn't be going, shoplifting, substances, and other stupid shit. He was into all this spooky-like stuff, from animations, music, etc. I thought it was kinda cool, all dark and mysterious, meant to be all ominous. He kept journals on journals of random things, nothing I was allowed to see. He had a few drawings of random cult-like figures, saying he wanted to create his own fake cult. After a while, I figured out he was not in the right headspace. from being in and out of mental health specialists to distant parents. I was also a teen who struggled, but something definitely changed. Begging me to go 5 hours out of town at 3 a.m., trying to get me to sneak out with him, even after I said no. How we would be back by morning. Just getting more and more reckless. Also, one time, we went to an abandoned shed. Well, it definitely was not abandoned. We found pictures of dead animals and other hunting gear. He seemed a little too fascinated, and I just wanted to get the hell out of there. That was probably a point when things got weird. He would start to ask me to come collect dead animals off the street with him. I was not down with that, though I tried to keep an open mind. Maybe it was taxidermy. After a while, I had a feeling it was not. And if it was a little excessive. One day I found multiple bleach buckets of dead animals that have been in there for weeks on end. It smelt, it was gross, and frankly terrifying. I did not speak to him after that. Later, he ended up asking to be friends again. I said no. After that, I have only heard of him going to a mental hospital. So to the teenage best friend, I hope you got better. But let's not meet again. I got home around midnight, almost 1 a.m. from work. My neighborhood is usually dead quiet around that time. I live in a small suburban area where no one's ever really out late. I've been working late nights at the bar for the past 3 years, and in all that time, I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen someone else out walking that late, if at all. So seeing anyone on the sidewalk at that hour immediately felt out of place. I was sitting in my parked car in front of my house, talking with my boyfriend on the phone before heading inside. Just unwinding, not thinking much of anything. Out of pure habit, I glanced at my driver's side rearview mirror. And that's when I saw someone. I saw the swaying movement of legs, and I noticed a bright light bouncing with each step, lighting up the ground beneath them. It looked like it might have been a phone flashlight, but it was bright. As soon as they reached the sidewalk, they stopped. And then, the light lifted, deliberately, perfectly, and aimed straight into my mirror, right at me. I got chills instantly. Still on the phone, I frantically told my boyfriend to hang on while I searched for my keys. My hands were shaking. I couldn't find my keys fast enough. I don't know why, but I felt like if I looked up again, that light would be closer. That whoever was holding it would be right next to my window. After what felt like an eternity, I found my keys, started my car, and bolted out of the neighborhood. As I turned the corner, the light faded from view. I tried to explain to my boyfriend, but I was so scared all I could think about was putting distance between me and that block. The direction they were walking, there's a large cluster mailbox they could have possibly ducked behind. But aside from that, there's really nothing else. No cars, no fences, no trees, just open sidewalk. Even the blocks I passed on the way to my boyfriend's, I didn't see a single person. To think that they could have been hiding like they got caught terrifies me. I don't know what I saw, but the way that light aimed perfectly at my mirror, it felt intentional, predatory. Maybe it was paranoia. I read a lot of horror. Maybe my brain was spinning stories because I started to doubt myself as I drove away. But my reaction of seeing that light and really hoping that person would just keep walking is what lets me know it was not safe. To the person, or whatever you were, holding that bright, disturbing light into my side view mirror, let's not meet. That's all the stories for today. Thanks for listening to the end. And with these 2 hints, you can watch my other videos.